Pie in the Sky Media.
Is that the McDonald's freaking theme song? I'm
No,
loving
no, no,
it.
no, 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 no. Do 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 do. That is
Wait,
from
wait, sing.
Rocky.
Wait, sing more of it. I would have
No,
gotten
it's
it.
a song. It's a song called "Take Me Back."
Okay, wait, sing.
When all
Wait.
the guys in Rocky, when they're warming their hands around a
Yeah,
barrel fire
yeah,
on a street corner, and
yeah,
they're like a doo-wop trio. Yeah,
yeah.
the main guy singing is Stallone's brother. Yeah, so that's what it was, and they were
Okay,
just
but
singing
sing a
"Take Me
little bit
Back."
of it here for a
Oh, I
second.
don't sing. I don't sing. It's "Take Me Back." Do 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 do. Take me back. That's it. That's all you really get. And then in four, Rocky four, it's a throwback to that song because Rocky's teaching Adrian how to sing it in the bed, and she sings as terribly as I do, right? Which is part of the joke, and it's a nice moment between Rocky and Adrian before he goes over to Russia to fight Drago. Yeah, yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, hey, wait, we're live. Welcome back, everybody, to
Mm-hmm.
another episode of a
Another
bonus
riveting.
episode of Criminal Mischief with Carolyn and Brandon. I'm Brandon, lifelong Rocky fan. Rocky 3 was the first movie I saw in theaters. And believe it or not, the first Rocky that I saw chronologically,
What?
because I was like 9. I can go to the movies a lot. There was no Netflix or Blockbuster, right, back then. How would I have seen Rocky 1 or Rocky
Okay,
2?
I'll tell you how I saw it.
All
My
right.
dad took my sister and I to a drive-in when I was like 5,
In
and
a
I
re-release, I
remember,
guess. Yeah,
huh?
must have been a re-release because the movie came out in '70. I don't know, whatever. But yeah, so great,
I
fantastic, fantastic. Are you going to see I Play Rocky? Have you seen the trailer for I Play Rocky?
No. What is this?
It's about the making of Rock. It's a
Oh.
feature,
Oh,
and
of course I'm gonna see it.
there's a guy playing Stallone who looks awesome,
Mm,
and it's about that what he kept saying to the studio. They
mm.
kept offering more and more money. We're going to get Redford to do it, and you're going to be a millionaire. Nope, I play Rocky. Well, how about this? And I play Rocky. And finally, they went, fine, fuck it, you play Rocky. But if it's $1 over budget or 1 second over schedule, we're taking the movie away. He's like, okay. And they did it. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, it's going to be great. Can't wait to see it.
So
Rocky Balboa.
is it a fictionalized thing, or is it
It's
scripted
well,
or unscripted?
it's totally scripted, totally scripted.
Oh, okay, okay,
So yeah,
okay.
there's a kid playing Rocky. I think Matt Dillon plays his dad.
Hmm.
I think Tracy Letts is the studio head. It's a really really good cast. Um, yeah, man, I can't wait.
You know what we started watching? It was so incredible. Like I got
Hmm.
sucked in. It was the making of The Godfather, but
Oh
it
yeah,
was a
terrific.
fiction. I think it's on
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
HBO.
It's called the
The
Offer.
Yes,
Yeah, with Miles Teller
so,
playing Al Ruddy. Yeah,
so
yeah.
so
I hear that's pretty accurate too.
incredible.
I knew the real Al Ruddy
Really?
uh for a while. Yeah, when I was working at the hotel, he was a regular, and his daughter worked at the hotel in the restaurant. He got her a job there. Um, and I knew his ex-wife. They were still really good friends, and just he was wicked old by the time I met him, but still sharp and really really cool,
Wicked
but
old. What
but
a
wi- but w- wicked old, yeah, but still walking around because he's tall and lanky and like still built like an athlete in his like accelerated years. Um, but yeah, man, he was awesome. He was a really good dude,
I mean, it
really
was
really good dude.
so, it really gives perspective on anything great that's made and what is
what it
required.
what it takes to get a movie made,
What
absolutely.
what is required? I mean, the mob, I mean, just
Yeah.
the whole
Absolutely,
like
just the studio stuff. The studio wants it. Can you imagine it? What that series did really well was it forced you to imagine different actors as the leads in the movie,
mm,
which was
mhm,
disorienting for me. Like
mm,
how
mhm.
hard they had to fight for Pacino, where he was perfect
I
as
know.
Michael Corleone.
I,
Perfect.
well, and
Yeah.
I love the part about Marlon Brando. It was so interesting
Yeah.
because, you know,
He had to
I guess
audition.
my feeling about him was like the horror. You know, like
Yeah, from
he
Apocalypse Now. Yeah.
yeah, and he was just this crusty weirdo in the end, and what you know, he was this beautiful man, and then he turned into this kind of so. But it was really the way that he was played. I was like, okay, this is interesting. You know, I was really
Yeah.
loving to see a different version of what I had thought I knew about him. And anyway, folks,
If
if you haven't,
if you yeah, but if you go into The Godfather really with fresh eyes and just focus on forget about the genius camera work or the writing or the sets or the cinematography because everything came together and you just focus on performances in
mm,
that and
mm-hmm,
specifically Brando.
mm,
He is it's remarkable what he was able to do with that performance. It really he was so locked in and he understood the character so well, the character's reluctance and the character's confidence and how he knew 4 or 5 steps ahead and how much he cared about his kids and how it was all about family, both in terms of emotion and in terms of business. Like it was, he was great
well,
and
what I
funny.
loved too was Francis Ford Coppola and how he had the vision as a creative and he refused to, you know, all the pressure he was putting on the producer. And he was just like,
Yeah,
part of it was like, oh my gosh, I get it. You've got to create a vision, but you got to make,
yeah,
you know, you got to dial it down. And he didn't care. He was like, I have to do this. We have to go to
yeah,
Italy. We have to do this. Even if you get like whacked,
yeah.
you know,
That whole Sicilian stuff, they wanted to cut out all the stuff in Sicily.
I, anyway,
Yeah, it was
anyway,
great. Great show. The Offer. Check it out,
The Offer.
everybody.
Check it out.
The Offer. Miles
Check it
Teller's
out.
great. So yeah, so let's talk about Scandal in Bohemia.
Mm.
Uh, I love every word Doyle ever wrote. I love
I know.
every Sherlock Holmes thing. And you know what I even love? My favorite Stephen King
Mm.
is when he wrote in the style of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle with a short story called The Doctor's Case. Stephen King reimagined a Sherlock Holmes case where Watson solves it before Holmes does for
Mm.
the only time in their partnership. Yeah, and it's an incredible short story, and it shows the genius of Stephen King that he can put his style entirely aside, and you think you're reading Doyle. It's beautiful.
I mean,
It's really beautiful. Yeah,
I'm gonna, what is that called? I'm gonna get that. What is that?
the Doctor's Case.
Okay.
I
Well,
forget which collection of short stories it is in from. It might be in Skeleton Crew. It might be in 10 to
I'll find
Midnight.
it. I'll
Or
fiid it. There's
yeah,
something called Google and it'll tell me
there is. You're
immediately.
right.
You're
There's a
right.
computer machine. There's the internets.
Okay, you know what? So I didn't know this, but I looked it up, and the whole canon of Sherlock Holmes is now in the public domain. This happened in
Wow.
2023.
Yikes.
I know,
Wow.
right?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty
That's
cool.
yeah. So
Yep.
so anyway, yeah, I was very excited to do this and I loved, as I said in my intro, I absolutely loved Sherlock Holmes. I loved this story because of Irene Adler and
Yeah. Yeah. It's great. And I got to tell you something about this though. Of all of the Holmes stories,
mhm,
right? This one kind of required the least of his powers.
mm, mhm.
You know, yeah, he put on a mask, he'd fake that he was bleeding, he goes inside, he does all of that. Right. Uh cool story. It was all just leading up to that twist, which isn't some huge twist. She was like, ah, I knew what you were doing, so I got you. You know,
It was
I
epic
knew
because
right.
nobody
I
had
knew that you knew that we're gonna look for the most important thing to us when we hear fire, right? I get it. Okay. So yes,
okay.
that was it was interesting. But what I liked most of what I liked most about it, the thing about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, or especially writers like Hawthorne or you know, a lot of the early American artists, your Herman Melvilles and stuff, where there was no TV. A lot of this was written. There was no radio. There was no nothing. Like
Yeah, of
that was your
course.
entertainment. And if you
Yes.
couldn't read, you would go to people who would read it to you. So they would use 100 words when you could say it in five.
Mm,
They had to fill column inches like newspaper writers used to. They had to fill pages, And so
mhm,
it lent itself to such beautifully dense language, which was great. And now contrast that against a more contemporary writer, someone like, say, Cormac McCarthy
mm.
with The Road, where if he could say it in one word, he will. You know, like
Yeah.
it's just the economy of his words, like, or Hemingway even.
Mm.
Like if you
Oh, well, yeah,
read
Hemingway was
read The
known
Old
for
Man and the
that.
Sea, you're
Yeah.
hard to find a polysyllabic word in that whole book, The Old Man and the
Hmm.
Sea, you know.
Hmm.
So
But I think that
just
like the descriptions there, they're so like when he was describing the king and his clothing, it
and he
was
was
just like
mustached and he was, yeah,
and the richness of it and the just the it's
all of
so
it,
fun to read that. It's so fun to
yeah,
imagine that and use your imagination to imagine that
yep,
because when there's
yep,
there's different I don't I guess as a writer like looking at the economy of words versus like oh my gosh this whole feast, it's like
yeah,
I guess what's the difference? Like, how is as a writer, like the
yeah.
imagination, how can we be fed on both of those? Tons and tons
Well,
and
it's weird
tons and
because
tons of words, not as many words, but
Victorian era writers, Dickens, obviously, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, um, didn't, in my opinion, didn't describe as much like Stephen King. One of my favorite things that he wrote about writing was it begins in the writer's mind and it ends in the reader's mind,
Mhm,
right?
mhm,
I don't think that they adopted that, these writers, because they, like you said, they told you everything, especially with Sherlock Holmes, where he's all about observation. You've got to get down to the minutia of everything, or you won't be able to see it, in your
mhm,
mind. So, uh,
mhm,
and that's great because it's such a brilliantly live canvas that's created with his rooms and with what it's like in London and with what this wonderfully aristocratic, flamboyant king is, how he's dressed and how he tears off his mask. And I was like, I fucking knew who you were the whole time, dipshit. I mean, come on, give me a break. Let's go. What's the problem? Let's get right into it. How can I help? Because I'm in.
mhm,
I'm all in. Great. Let's go.
mhm, mhm.
Um, and how, and also just a sign of the times, how a photograph would ruin it, could take down a king, a picture. And it probably wasn't even like a porn shot. I doubt they posed for however 6 minutes long it took to get a fucking daguerreotype to expose, right? Like they sat there naked. It was probably they posed and
Mhm.
fully clothed. It's just someone who wasn't his wife. Oh, right. Um,
Well, he wasn't even married, but like, it's back in the day where it's like you look at somebody's ankle, a woman's
oh
ankle,
yeah,
and like,
absolutely. And how she was below his station. Ah, if only she were up to my standards. What a great queen she would make. Like all that shit, which makes me gag now, but back then it was legit.
I know, but as a young person reading that, as a little girl reading that, I loved that. I
Yeah, I
loved
wanted
that.
more of her. I wanted more of her. Doyle saved it to the end where
I
she
know,
just,
but the fact
you
that
know,
he even did that, given the
yeah, is
times and given
fantastic. Yeah, yeah,
it's amazing. And
yeah,
I even, you know, reading it in the 80s it spoke to me. You know what I mean?
sure.
Like that when I was, read it when I was 12 or 13 or whatever, that those things still existed. I still felt that. I still felt
Yeah.
like, you know, underneath that current. You know what I mean?
So, so did you like the like seeing a woman be portrayed as or more capable than like the sharpest mind in Europe, and
I think that I've
or
been
do you also like, the the regular Sherlock Holmes stories because they're fucking great either
I
way.
love all of the Sherlock Holmes
Yeah.
stories.
Okay.
That's just my favorite. That wasn't the first one that I
Yeah.
read, but when I was thinking about the story, a story that I was going to read, I was like, "Oh yeah, I want to read that one." And then when I was rereading it, then and I've seen like movie adaptations of it and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
stuff. So like that's not it's
I
not
think
new.
we've talked about this. Have you read? Because Edgar Allan Poe as a
well, let me hold
investigator.
on. Let me just get to
Yeah.
that to answer your question.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking a lot about why over the last couple days, and I was thinking when I was my dad had this story that he would love to, you know how our parents would like tell stories about us when we're little, and
Yep.
he let me tell you. And he always loved to have this story about me when I was little of being like he would when I was born, I never wanted to go to him and I would always cry. Um and he's like, and she had these big blue eyes, and she had, she didn't have, because I had really light hair, so I had a bunch of hair, but you couldn't really tell because it was like white, right,
Yeah.
or blonde or whatever. And he would just do this. My dad was this huge storyteller, and so he acted like she was like an owl, and she was just penetrating, and like there was something wrong with me from the very beginning, that I was always studying and always like
Mm.
always observing. And it's true. I was like that when I was little. I was always observing, and I was always paying attention, and I think a lot of kids are like that. Like I'm not unique in that way, but because of the way that it was like described to me, and or I was described by someone of such a huge significance in my life, I think that sometimes, women are kind of put in boxes where you think too much,
Yeah.
you're just, why can't you just relax, why can't you just whatever. And I feel like that story resonated now with the hindsight that I have of being, a woman, that like seeing her best Sherlock Holmes in such a huge way, and having
Yeah.
him have that massive respect for her. And it just spoke to me in a way that I didn't
Yeah.
understand it then, but like I definitely
What about
understand
the
it now.
how about how it played out? Because at first it was dripping with all of the, Victorian era misogyny. They were just talking about how pretty she is, what a wonderful
Mhm.
figure she had, like all of that.
Yeah.
And they don't drop how smart she is until the end. And that's when Holmes was like, okay, I get
I
it.
know, and I
She's
think
awesome.
that's also part of it, because like that still
Yeah.
happens today. Like you can't necessarily, in my experience, come across as just being like a know-it-all or the smartest person in the room. Like if you are the smartest person in the room, I think as a woman, sometimes you're not going to let a lot of people know it.
Yeah.
They won't see it coming. You know,
Yeah.
it's 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 kind of
Hmm.
still sad that that's the way that it is. But I mean, maybe that's just my experience, but um yeah, I mean that was part of it too, where it starts off where there's this scandal and she's perceived as a certain way, and even Holmes thinks of her in that way because he's all on
Sure.
it, like it's a fake, it's a forgery, she's a liar,
Yeah,
she's a
she did
gold
this
digger
or this or she,
or
right,
this.
exactly. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and he then concedes like, yes, she is the most beautiful, she is this, and he's still kind of like, he's
He
not
thinks that it's
saying,
going to be easy. He has such confidence the whole time. I'll have some very good news for you tomorrow. We have
oh,
3 whole days. This will be fine. Right? Like all that. And he doesn't get it.
he
He doesn't
doesn't
get
get
it.
it.
But I loved how Doyle rap made it okay because in my opinion,
Mm.
even better than Holmes marveling at her cleverness and her ability to stay one step ahead of him was the king's really beautiful opinion of the woman. Like it's safer there than anywhere else. She's inviolate. She uncorruptible. If she says something, that's what she's going to do. Like he trusts her. He knows of her. He was speaking to her character in that moment. right? Like if
He
she
was, but
says,
he's not inviolate. That's the thing.
no, he's
She
not, but
is, but
she
he's
is, and
not.
he was able to acknowledge that in her, which I liked. And for me, that creates a very well-rounded kid. Because now, what do we know about her from reading the story, right? We know that she's hot as fuck, right? She's got a banging body, right? She's wicked smart and a good person, right? He created the perfect woman in this story, you know?
I think that
Yeah.
what I love too is Sherlock Holmes recognized he wasn't like the guy that he gets bested by the woman and then he drags her down. You know,
No, he's
he's
like,
like,
kudos.
he
I'll
is
see you
like,
again.
he's
Yes.
happy to be schooled. He's happy and he wanted to commemorate it with her photo. He
Yep.
he wanted that. And it's like, because so often,
Yeah, that's right. He
you
wanted a
know,
picture.
the
That got a little
men,
creepy at the end for me. A little creepy.
okay,
Give me the
stop.
picture. Give me the picture and we're cool.
You know, I didn't get that when I was young about that, but I
Yeah.
get it now.
Oh, yeah, I get it now too. Yeah, I get it.
Wait a second, stop.
I'm not kink shaming him at all. Like I get it, but I mean it's
The fact that
fairly
you're even
obvious.
bringing up kink, I mean, it's like he could take a ring. It's a part of the story where it's like the value isn't for the king. It's all about what you look like, what your
Uh-huh.
station is,
And
what
maintaining that station. Yes.
and
Protecting it.
for someone like Holmes, it shows he's not interested in her sexually, at least in this story, maybe in other iterations. He
Hmm.
can't be. He's a freakazoid. He's not wait,
Hey, even
wait.
freaks, even freaks have their
No,
kinks. You know what
that's
I mean?
not what he's about.
What
He's
would it destroy your opinion of Sherlock Holmes if you sexualized him a little bit? He's a man.
it's not that I don't want to sexualize him. It's
Okay.
not like I don't want that. I'm saying the way that he's been written, he's so hyper focused. It
Yeah.
just it here you're trying to sexualize. Wait, here it is. Here it is.
Mhm.
It's not him, it's you. You're trying to sexualize
No,
that
I'm reading
moment
between
of
the
him
lines,
of
Carolyn. I'm reading between the lines of just this story. He goes on these week-long fucking coke benders locked in his apartment. What do you think he's doing?
what do you mean?
Okay. All right.
No, you tell me.
He's a drug addict
So what
who
does that mean?
isolates. He's a drug addict who isolates. He's not alone the whole time. That is what that means. I'm sure he
I
has
I think
ladies or gentlemen
and
callers up to
and here
221 Baker
and
Street.
here's the
Yes.
thing. I think that he is. That's why he is the way he is. He's
Okay.
in there with his gear and his, his
You know what it's
microscopes and
like?
his
Here's what it's like. It's like serial killers that keep prizes from their victims, right? Holmes wanted
yeah.
this picture of the only person who ever really outsmarted him, who
A
wasn't
trophy,
Moriarty.
a trophy.
Yeah, he
But it
wanted a trophy.
wasn't because he was sexualizing her. It was
Okay.
because in the
Okay.
context of the way that the story was written, quit giving me that fucking look of like, you're so naive and dumb.
No, I'm like,
I'm
okay, that's what I respect your opinion.
okay. Listen, I know, quit. Okay.
I respect your opinion.
Okay. Pretty much you're going to start giving me a brow here, an eyebrow, one up. Listen, I'm
Listen,
saying
here's what
within,
happened when the king left. Sorry to interrupt you. When the king left the apartment and Holmes had the picture, he went, "Hey Watson, I'll see you in a few minutes. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick." Okay.
okay, stop. Wait a second. Here's what I
So
think
that's okay.
this is what I think he was doing. I think
Mhm.
it was a double whammy where he was wanting the king to see this is how he thinks. Holmes, he's thinking what you don't see as valuable. You're giving me this ring that I see
Agreed.
zero value. I want the photo of this amazing woman. I will not, who's better than
Just
you
more
when he
valuable to me.
says, when he says, she's on a totally another level than you.
Yep.
He saw the king as a complete buffoon and was not
Yeah, of
impressed
course.
with any of his bullshit or his station or his title. It's for him, it's not about money, it's not about prestige, it's about these cases, it's about his
He values
process.
different things. He values different things.
He values different things, and he
Yes.
valued Irene Adler. And I
Oh
know
yeah.
that you want to
Did
just
he
skim.
ever? Did he ever? Okay.
Okay.
All right. If Doyle hadn't made so many obvious overtures to just how sexy Irene Adler was, I might not have thought that.
Okay,
But
so it was Victorian times, and
sure.
he's showing his
Perfect
hand a little bit.
face, the figure, the face. I mean,
He
it was
also
pretty
said
obvious.
how good looking her new guy was, how good looking the king was. It
Yeah,
wasn't like it was.
dashingly handsome, all that, right? Surrounded by beauty. Everybody in this
Yeah,
was
if
like out
you
of an
read the Sherlock
Abercrombie.
Holmes series, which I know
Uh,
you have,
yeah,
he's almost asexual.
almost, almost, except for all the cocaine. And then who knows what happens with Watson when they're there alone? I don't know. Maybe he's gay. Who knows? But I love it as a character. And Edgar Allan Poe, I think, has a better detective in his canon in Dupin, Alexander Dupin. If you've read like the Purloined Letter, the Murders in the Rue Morgue, whatever. But Poe didn't live long enough to have an extensive body
I
of
think it's
work as
funny that
Doyle.
you need to have that in this story. It's not enough just to have this
No, I
amazing.
don't need it. I don't need it. I just
No, you
acknowledge
need
that
it.
it's there.
You
No, I
need it. You
acknowledge.
need
I
it. You need
I
it, buddy.
acknowledge. I acknowledge that it's there. That's all. All right. Well, listen. I love story time with Carolyn. This was great. Thank you for sparing us any German accents. There were a couple of speed bumps, pronunciation wise, right? Where you tap the brakes a little bit, which is fine. You got through it though. You got through it, and I
It
could tell
was
when you're like when you panic, you just say fuck it and you speed through the rest. Like halfway through, you're like, I gotta get the end, Mr. Schnitzer.
Schnitzel.
So,
Snickerdoodle.
but you did it. You
Snickerdoodle.
did it. You did it. And you know what? None of us are here for the names of the characters. You know why we're here. We want to hear the story, and you delivered. So, job well done. Thank you very much. We should do this once a month. I love these stories. So, if you enjoyed it as well, Nation, please consider sharing this and leaving a rating or a review. Every little engagement with the algorithm helps more people discover the show, and we would appreciate it. And Carolyn, hope you had a great week, and hope you have another great week coming up. And anything you'd like to add?
Um, well, we're out of time, but I do want to recommend your Devil Within. I got one of your
Ah,
reels
for
and about
the new monsters.
the
Yeah,
new
we're doing the new
monsters,
monsters.
and I
Yeah,
love
it's
your
been a
take
lot of
on
fun.
it. And anyway, everybody go listen because I haven't listened to them yet, but the reels are really great teases and just the black-eyed children and
Oh, that's out now. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
we did Slender Man. We did Backrooms. We did the Frogman of High Falls. There's a lot
But
of these. It's
what I imagine is based on the reels that I saw of the black-eyed children, and I don't know which I saw another one I think, but
yeah.
is the radio, like in times where it's radioactive, they're gonna
Sure,
have those
that's what we
types
need. It's
of
the monsters that we need. Yeah, and the
right.
basic thesis of the show is that computer screens are the new campfires, where stories used to be told and shared around campfires. It would take hundreds of generations to, get all around the world. Now it could happen in 2 seconds, and it becomes crowdsourced, right? Where the legends grow like immediately online, and people just say, "Oh, well, what if this happened also? I heard it was this," and what sticks, and what doesn't like falls away. And so, yeah, like during the Cold War, it was the nuclear threat. During the what, it's the times create monsters, and because of our ability to communicate so effectively and so rapidly, it doesn't take 100 generations to embed itself into our folklore. So we're lucky in this era we could witness the birth of American folklore. it's happening. It's happening all around us. Yeah. So I've been having a good time with this series. So thanks for mentioning it.
Of course. Well,
all right. Cool.
Anyway, you have a great week, and
you too. I'm sure we'll talk.
We'll talk. All right. Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.
From Pie in the Sky Media, Criminal Mischief is an EVO production, recorded live in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. We're produced by Brandon Morgan and myself, music by Soundstripe. For EVO Creative, I'm Carolyn Ossorio, your writer and host.